Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm and Nursery. Today I thought I would just kind of walk through some of the things that we're doing here on the farm, and one being this time of year, it's the almost mid-August or creeping to the end of August. We have started to gather from the gardens, and here on our farm we have quite a few apple trees, so that's been kind of my priority. We've been picking apples. We've got several different kinds, and I thought I would just jump start onto a few things in the pantry this video. So what I'm going to be making this time is an apple pie filling, and partly because we have some guests arriving later in the week, and I thought that it would be nice to make maybe an apple pie and just try it out, but also can up a few for the pantry shelf, just because it is so nice to have fresh apple pie filling. Or I mean, some of the things I make other than pie filling is applesauce. This year I was going to make an apple chutney. If you have any suggestions of what to do with apples, I think we have almost 10 apple trees. We have some pear trees, we've got some plums, we have some figs. So there's a lot of fruit that needs to be used up. So I got to get really creative in trying to salvage what we can from the farm when I have time, because during this time of year we are busy as well, doing loads of weddings. As you know, Riley and I, main part of our business is growing flowers, and the gardens right now are just amazing. They are just full flush, beautiful. We've got rudbeckias, we've got sunflowers coming on, we've got some zinnias that are absolutely amazing. We grew a little bit of Florette's new zinnia, which has been really, really pretty. We've been enjoying that one. I think it's the sunset one or something like that, but it's really pretty. And we grow a lot of these things for weddings because we're a farmer florist. And during August, usually we have a couple weddings spattered through, but for the most part, we are just kind of taking a little bit of a break, partly because here in Oregon, for whatever reason, we have this little bit of break in August, the beginning of August with weddings, partly because we tend to be in fire season, I think. But every year it's kind of like this. And so I know I have a small window of time to do some other activities in the garden, like getting the gardens under control with weeds, pulling fruit from the trees and processing, pulling berries, pulling all of the things. We had some onions that we pulled out. We had a few other things from the garden that we're harvesting. And then we're also getting ready to replant the vegetable garden for fall and winter production. So it is still a busy time on the farm, and we are just enjoying this little break right now. I believe that this is a Gravenstein apple, which is it's probably one of the more popular ones to cook with. It's got kind of a sweet but yet a tart flavor to it, and just a very nice, I think the texture of it is really nice too. It's not grainy, it's got a nice crispness to it. So I love using these, and these are one of the first to kind of ripen on our farm. Gravensteins are probably still one of the most popular trees in America and Europe. I believe the tree came from Denmark, if I'm correct, and originated from Denmark, and now we have it here on the farm. So this one produces quite a bit as well, and we did not spray these at all this year, and they are looking beautiful. So we didn't thin our apples this year, which normally we do. We just, with all the transition on the farm and stuff, it just didn't happen. So we're just getting what's good off the tree this year. Next year we'll do a better job. There's always next year. That's what's nice about gardening. So Riley just called and let me know a coffee is ready. She made a latte, I believe, and it's been super nice. She's got a little new machine, and it's been kind of nice to have that on the farm. So I'm gonna go get my coffee and I'll be back at picking more apples. Okay, got my coffee. She even does little latte art. Little heart, isn't that cute? Okay, this will keep me fueled going forward. So while I'm taking my coffee break, I'm gonna show you guys the pots that we did on the back porch. And we planted these up late, but I wanted to show you how well everything did. I mean, I think it looks stunning right now. We've been fertilizing maybe once a week, if that. These were, remember, all the plugs that we had left over from our hanging baskets that I just kind of popped around the farm. But I feel like right here, they really, really are loving and living their best life. So I'm gonna give you a little closer look. And I wanted to show you quickly a Cinnadranium that I grew from seed, but it's doing so well. Come here. So this is the Cinnadranium that I grew by seed, and I believe it's called Maverick Pink. There's all the different Mavericks, but I just bought seed online. And this is what happened. I had Maverick Salmon and a white as well. The only thing, these are older varieties, so what you have to do is deadhead a little bit more. But I think, I'm really pleased and happy with how this turned out. But yeah, I mean, it's just really, really pretty combination. This is really fun, the coleus. It took a long time to get going, and then we paired it with a couple different petunias through these, and a little bit of butter yellow, the pinks. I love those colors. So the hanging basket we planted last, and of course it's not as full or robust, especially as it was last year, but it's coming along, you know, it's doing okay. We haven't rotated it. We really need to do that. It doesn't have a swivel at the top, so it definitely needs to be turned every once in a while. And I've forgotten to water it a few times. It feels nice and moist right now, but we'll see. We'll see if she does a little bit more, performs a little bit better. But next year I'm definitely gonna plant this guy up early. Okay, back to work. So for the first thing on my list is making apple pie filling for the pantry. The recipe I have, it makes about 7 1-quart jars, which is gonna be nice because I'm gonna use one of those quarts for the pie that I'm gonna make today. But the rest of them, I have 6 jars that will go on the pantry shelf. We don't eat sweets very often, but when we do, we like something that's a little bit like an apple pie. That's, I don't know, there's some pies and some desserts that can be really, really sweet, and then there's others that just have this very warm, welcoming feel to the home. And of course, it makes the house smell so good. So apple pie filling was one of the things that I missed out last year and want to get on the shelf this year. So for this recipe, this recipe calls for 4.5 cups white sugar, 1 cup starch. You can use ClearJel if you want. 2 teaspoons ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon ground nutmeg. I always like to use fresh. 10 cups water, 2 teaspoons salt, and of course here we're using Redmond's salt, 3 tablespoons lemon juice. Optional is 2 drops of yellow food coloring. I'm not going to be doing that. And then we're gonna use 6 pounds of apples. So you're gonna be mixing the sugar, the cornstarch, the cinnamon, nutmeg in a large pan. Add your water, salt as well. And then you're gonna bring that to a boil until it thickens. This is almost like a caramel sauce. It's gonna be kind of nice and bubbly. We're gonna remove it from the heat and add lemon juice. You can add the food coloring now if you desire. In your sterilized canning jars, lids and rings, you can do that by boiling water. I don't always do that. I sometimes will just heat boiling water and pour them in the jars and just let them sit on the counter until I'm ready to use. You're gonna peel and core your apples, and then you're gonna pack the slices into the hot canning jars, leaving about 1/2 inch of headspace. Then you're gonna take your hot syrup and you're going to gently fill the jars, and then use your little stick, your little canning stick. I don't know what it's called, but you kind of poke down and you want to make sure that you are getting all the little air bubbles out before you throw it in a canner. So I just like to water bath can mine, and so what I do is I just put my lids and caps on, tighten them about finger tight, and then I'm going to process them about 25 minutes. And that should do it. That should make enough for 6 pies, which I probably will do another batch later, but this is like, I'm trying to chunk out smaller things to do as far as canning goes, so I don't get overwhelmed or in the middle of a big huge project and then just get totally overwhelmed, because I do that sometimes. I think, oh, I'm gonna do 25 jars of something and like all these different things, and it just never works out as planned. So next on my list, which is going to be in a different video, is going to be a apple chutney I'm thinking to do. So if you have any good recipes and want to share them, feel free. Chutney is one of those things that's really interesting. It pairs really nicely with meats, especially like chicken or pork, things like that. It comes from India, and a long time ago during the war, the English apparently adopted it and came back, and chutney was generally used with, I think it was mangoes, and it was like fruit and spices and that kind of thing. Well, the English came back with it and they thought, well, we don't have any mangoes, so we're going to use apples. And I actually like that. I prefer the apple. I don't know, there's something so fall and beautiful about it, and I love the story behind it. So I'm going to be making some of that later in the week. I'll try and catch that on a film as well. And then the other thing is just the staple of applesauce, and I got to dig out my recipe and find one that works well. Again, if you have one that you absolutely love, feel free to share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And what else you do with your apples. Okay, so I am going to just let that pot come up to a boil, a gentle boil. We're gonna boil that for about 25 minutes. And then when it's done, I like to let it cool down a little bit before I pull my jars. While that is doing its thing for 25 minutes, I'm gonna run in and make a pie really quick, just a regular apple pie. It'll be one of the first of the season. It feels like fall here lately. It's just kind of had some really cool days, and so I thought it was really appropriate just to use what leftovers I have and make a little pie for tonight's dessert, and we have company. So I thought I'd just be nice. All I need is some ice cream. I didn't bring any or make any or have any, so anyways, what else? I think that's it. I think it turned out really well. It made about 6 jars, which that's plenty for me, and I still have a ton of apples left over. So I'll be definitely on this apple train for a while, and we'll just be bopping in as I make different things throughout the canning season until we get into winter gardening and all the fall things and everything like that. So anyways. Well, overall, it was a very quick and easy recipe to put together. I'm going to try my hand at doing a little bit more, because it would be nice just to have some more just on the shelf just in case, or even to give away as a Christmas gift, which is really nice. So I just finished up the pie as well. That's in the oven cooking. I just put it in for about 45 minutes. We'll see if it's done after that. I will put the recipe for both the apples and the pie crust down below for you guys if you're interested in making a apple pie. It sure makes the house smell cozy, for sure. All right, now we just have to wait for the pie and have a test of how it tastes. The hard part is just waiting for it to cool. Well, I hope you're enjoying your gardens and all of the bounty that is arriving this time of year. I know it's a busy time of season, but until next time, much success in all you do and grow, and we'll be seeing you shortly back here at Crowley House very soon. Bye-bye.